Hello.
Hello, everyone. So I will reintroduce Dereck and Niko. We're going to be talking today about conscious cities. So let's kick it off. How do you define conscious cities?
You want to go first or shall I go first? So I'm Dereck Hoogenkamp. I'm the CEO of Sanctum Properties. And I'm really happy to be able to put my really traditional real estate background of development into the tech atmosphere with the joint venture with Sanctum, Sanctum Ventures, which Sanctum Properties got born. So what is my view on conscious cities? I think that smart cities are a bit outdated. We are not only talking about putting tech together and put it in one place. No, we're talking about a complete different thing. We're talking also the spirit, the mind, everything, your happiness, everything in one city. But what is now the really cool stuff, which you can, Niko can talk about more now, I think, is that there is the real world and there's the Metaverse 1 and Metaverse 2. So what do I mean with it? The real world is the construction of the building. Metaverse 1 is the exact copy of the real world. And the Metaverse 2 is the third copy, which is variable. So you can change and can see the future. So I think Niko knows much more about that, right?
Hi, sorry about my Godfather voice, but I lost it the last days. I'm Niko, CEO and founder of Blockchain Valley. It all started as a smart city in Sofia, Bulgaria, but with a difference, a smart city on blockchain technology, because I think most smart cities are too focused on data. We just want to protect the data with blockchain technology. But I was already working on virtual concerts and so way before Corona even happened. So when Corona kicked in, I thought, hey, I have to see it bigger. I have to make a twin city of the real city we are making. And when people cannot attend an event, a concert, or whatever, because they cannot actually travel here, they can still have it in the virtual space, because it's a one-on-one copy, so we can create them the feeling like they are actually there. It's completely virtual, 360 degrees, so they can watch with their smartphone, they can watch with the desktop, but in combination with the virtual glass, they have the best experience. It's like they are actually there.
That's really, really, so you can experience it, but from somewhere else. You can experience it, but from somewhere else. It's about the experience.
Correct.
Yeah. So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about the kinds of technologies that you see being used in these conscious cities?
I can start with one, and then Niko is going to continue with 5,000 of them. I will kick off with one. One could be used, for example, Palm Fusion. Palm Fusion is a technology that you scan the veins inside your hand, the print of your hand, and the 3D of your hand. Then this is an access control, electronic ID, and a payment system. So it's completely COVID compliant, PSD2 compliant, GDPR compliant, and with your hand, without contact, you start your car, open your door. It's your credit card, no more plastic, nothing, right? And it has live verification, and you're 100% sure it's you. But I think Niko has some really cool stuff, especially on the virtual reality and the bodysuits and everything, right?
Well, I will give you two. I will give you one for the real. I will give you one for the smart city, for the virtual. For the smart city, for me, it was important a lot of gated communities, they pay a service fee. They pay a service fee to cut the grass, to clean the snow in the winter, for the security and so on. But actually nobody knows where is their money going. With blockchain, you can make this transparent. You can give all the citizens voting rights. We have 6 companies. Who do you like as the citizens that will do their job? You can make a transparent ledger where all the payments are going, so the citizens see, here is your money being used. So that's for me an important one for the real life. In the smart city, for me, it's education. Because I believe the day of today, the children are the teachers. The TikTok generation, they will make mass adoption happen in the blockchain. Because we have now NFTs, we have gamification on the blockchain. And this is all things we can implement in the virtual cities. The TikTok generation, they will bring those ideas, explain them to their parents, to their grandparents, and that's where the real mass adoption for me lies.
That's really interesting because you're talking about transparency and accountability, and Dereck is talking about identity and ease of use, like functionality. So that's really, really fascinating. If you were to build these conscious cities, what would be, say, the 8 focus points or the 8 pillars upon which you believe these conscious cities should be built?
I mean, I think health, education, as you mentioned before. Then another thing is sustainability and impactfulness, right? And then I can go to all the rest ones, which are the tech, which is the blockchain, and CCTV, security, safety, efficiency, effectiveness, which can you say efficiency and effectiveness is seamless, let's say. This is like more or less 8 pillars, right? And then of course all the standard stuff which comes from the traditional world. But I think what also really important is what he said. If you see the kids now on their mobile, right? And they're all the time on the mobile, and we, our generation, complaining, the Z generation or the TikTok generation, right? You should not complain, because that is what they like. I remember really well when I was a kid what I like, and I'm still doing it, right? And my parents were complaining about it. So we also have to build in the traditional world for them, for the deep tech guys, for those guys, right? It's really important, because they want something else than most people from my generation or the generation after me, or even the baby boomer generation want, right? We're talking about Generation Z, the generation TikTok, right? And I think there's a huge opportunity also for the traditional world and for the smart cities and the conscious city to tap into that.
I totally agree. Also, smart cities, we have to think about our environment, yeah? I see still today countries allowing cutting whole forests that we really need for climate change. And in smart cities, sustainability, we can build in height vertical farming together with blockchain technology, can change our life. We can use all the land that we don't need anymore, again, to put, again, trees and so on. And like you said, health, education, that's why we have to focus there in conscious cities.
Yeah, and I want to add one thing. For example, even blockchain technology you can use for, because I remember my times at Alberari when we planted 1,800 species of plants, 900 unique to the Middle East, right? Even the planting, even how you plant the trees, which trees you plant, which plant you plant, which birds you want to attract, how you want to decrease the climate. So it's the technology, the blockchain technology or any other technology together with the real world. And we're talking even about planting trees, right? In Dubai or in UAE or in the rest of the world or in Bulgaria or in Portugal or in Malta or wherever, right? So this is really important. People don't realize it. How? Because people see only the dark side of the tech. They don't see the good side of the tech, right?
I think we're all here because we see the good side of the tech.
Well, like Star Wars.
But where I do agree with both of you is also, you know, when we're talking metaphorically about the conscious cities, every country has a different climate, different religions, different cultures. So adapting, you know, the flexibility of technology allows us to adapt hydroponic agriculture, etc., to the environment, because every country is different, right? The geography is different, the altitude is different, etc. So I think this is really, really interesting. So one of the things I want to ask you about is, how do you feel the identity, how is the identity of the citizens of the conscious communities are?
Well, I wanted to say something about the governments. Some projects have the idea to make a land. Yeah, that was for me one step too big, because to be a land, you have to be approved by other countries. Yeah, so I said, let's do it smaller. Let's do a city. Yeah, and let's integrate all the good about blockchain technology, so we can show what difference is. So governments see this is not only crypto. Blockchain is a lot more than sending a coin from wallet A to wallet B. Today, you can do, with blockchain, you can use it for the food industry, for the medical industry, automotive industry. You can use it actually for everything. For buying and selling a house, you don't need a notary, because you can do that with a smart contract. So I think if we build smart based on blockchain technologies, governments will see the good, what they can actually use about it. So you have to do it on a smaller scale, on the level of a city, to show them it can actually work.
Yeah, I agree, because it's the same as a blockchain, for example. There are several nodes, it's like a neuron of brain, and there are all small cities which communicate with each other. And then your question about religion or a question about health. And then, for example, a doctor in a small node smart city in Mexico, who is the specialist on heart problems, and the guy in Abu Dhabi has a problem with his heart. So they immediately can help much more faster, much more quicker, much more seamless, much more, even with agriculture, even with everything, even with religion, because all the religions come together, like they can learn from each other. You can learn from Islamic, you can learn from the Christians, you can learn from everyone. So it's really, really integrated. And that's where the blockchain and all the technologies also help a lot, I think.
Absolutely. So why don't we go back to the other question about the identities of the citizens within the conscious cities?
Yeah, I mean, the identities, I think privacy is key. That is number one. I mean, then I come into the typical example of Dubai, right? You see all the people here in this room, all their passports are already flying around, and they will get calls from developers to buy something. This is completely crazy, right? I have to change, I have 50 phone numbers just because of that, right? And they even know what my nationality, they know everything about me. So privacy is key, and that is key for your identity, right? And also people will become more and more world citizens, right? Even though we are living more in silos during COVID and everything, but still, it's much more mixed. Then we can go to even one step higher about the digital currency for the whole world and things like that. But I think people still want their identity, and they want their identity protected, and they want to have it safe. So privacy is key, in my opinion, in this point.
I totally agree. That's what I said in the beginning. Normal smart cities, your data is being used, but in a smart city on blockchain technology, you're actually going to protect the privacy of the citizen. But for me, the real identity of a smart city are people with a good heart that know we are living today, but my grandchildren in 100 years or something, they also still have to live. We have to leave this place in a better way than we found it. And I think smart cities, blockchain technology, and a lot of innovation and respect for the environment can change that for what we leave behind us.
Yeah, perhaps these cities over time can start to attract like-minded people. So just as you have communities of, I don't know, people that go to Burning Man, for example, it attracts like-minded people who want to share and exchange.
Yeah, I agree completely. For example, Dubai wants to attract talent, right? But talent is not coming if you don't have the right facilities, right? Even Dubai is great, but maybe for deep tech guys, there's not enough stuff here. Or maybe for people who are in the music industry, why would they leave Miami or Hollywood, right? to come here. But if you have the right attraction of talent, right, the right people and the right community, the right smart city or conscious city for them, then yes, of course, then they're willing to come.
I even totally agree with this because I was 2 years ago also on GITEX, and I was like, whoa, they still have to learn a lot about blockchain. When I came this year, I was surprised. I was like, whoa, they are going faster than Europe now. But I think for me, we need smart cities like hubs in the world connecting the best of those countries. Because Dubai for me is the perfect spot for networking, to find investors and so. But you have to outsource your project because to make it here, the IT and so, it's too expensive. So for example, a spot here, a blockchain valley in Dubai, for the networking, for the investors, with a blockchain valley in Bulgaria, for actually making the project, to develop the project, to develop the technology.
Absolutely, I agree. And the more exchanges you have, the more innovation you create. So I firmly believe in that. So I'll go to the last question, which is, how do you think these cities are going to fundamentally improve people's lives?
Yeah, I think exactly the connectivity between the cities. Again, like same, I always like to compare it with the classical world. It's like, for example, you had Erasmus exchange students in Europe, right, which was an exchange program. Now it's so easy if you have a completely seamless conscious city. And it also will improve because people will have more time for themselves. So people will have more time to meditate. People will have more time to relax. People will have more time to choose what they really want. People have more access to what they really want. And also, people have more time to talk to like-minded people who they're interested in. Because again, what, for example, in our previous presentation of Philcoin, for example, was, it's all about the people and about giving back, right? So I think that is really the story. And with the conscious city, you're really giving back. We're not only talking about technology, we're not only talking about blockchain, we're not only talking about all this amazing stuff everybody is doing now, but giving back to our new generation, our new children coming on Earth, and not being completely destroyed also by technology. Because we will make sure that technology gives benefits and it gives added value to this. And this is where the conscious city mindset comes in, I believe.
Well, sharing is caring, but for me, it's also going back to our origin. In the past, we were all nomads. We were traveling around the world. And I see this with all my crypto and blockchain friends. They don't want to stay on one spot. But if you have different hubs of that smart city all over the world, you can live a month there, 3 months there, and so on. All this started, like Didi Tahutu from the Bitcoin family is a brother of me. Vesa Kivinen, the NFT artist, is a brother of me. And we were traveling all over the world to blockchain events, crypto events. And we were saying to each other, every time we are together, we have bright ideas, but then the event is over and you cannot go deeper in it. But if we live all together in one of those conscious cities, we can do wonders. And we can still travel, but we can still travel together.
I agree with that because there's the people element coming in. I remember I set up the biggest backpacker chain in the world. And we built a lot of things. And people think that backpackers are there to travel and see the world. No, they're there to meet other backpackers. So if you do through the smart cities, the conscious cities, you can meet everyone much quicker, much faster. And you're meeting like-minded people on those, let's say, digital currency events or something like this, right? I remember telecom time was the same. The quick internet time, you know it really well. Maybe you can answer the question when she was really big in the internet time. See, everybody was getting together, right?
I was actually going to say that just as you were talking about traveling around, blockchain conferences, during the pandemic when everything was really shut down, I was pushing very hard with governments on getting digital nomad visas and policies passed, which they didn't have before, so that you could attract the whole tech industry to move maybe with the weather, So while it's winter in Europe, you can be surfing in Panama. So we pushed through in a couple of countries very rapidly, actually, these policies on digital nomads. And what you see happening is people meeting up in the most unlikely places, and then you have the exchanges, the sharing, the innovation, the ideas. So I agree with you about, being sort of like a migratory group of like-minded people. I've seen it happen. Thank goodness we now have governments that are actually facilitating it by passing policies and laws for that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the funny thing is also what you say is like, now also with little money, you can do it if we have the smart cities, right? My dream always as a kid, and just before COVID I was doing it, I was living between Europe on the Mediterranean, Dubai, and Asia, right? So I had a best of three worlds, and I was migrating with the seasons, right? And also, then Dubai was always the perfect hub for business, right? And now you can, if you have these smart cities, you can also do it much more easier.
And if you combine it with the virtual copies, for the ones that are saying, yeah, I'm going to stay a little bit longer, they still can connect with the rest. And we have like a friend here, Lorenzo, he's in another hall with the virtual rooms that you can connect the real world with the virtual world, that you actually have the feeling that those people are sitting next to you. You can, the ones that are traveling, you can connect with the ones staying behind. And that's very important, because then you're not only talking about an idea on an event, you can keep on talking and make it happen.
Yeah, there's continuity.
Yeah, and also was really good example we were talking about a few days ago. I remember myself that at first I was writing a letter, then I was on the phone, then I was texting SMS messages. Now everybody is just texting WhatsApp messages. They don't call each other anymore. I mean, if you're in a virtual room, yeah, the technology should go there, because I say 10,000 words now more with my hand when I'm doing like this and looking at people. Yeah, it's like smell, taste, vision, everything, gestures, everything are so important to communicate, and also that it will generate more love and more happiness for the other people.
I will tell you even something more. I think in Corona, more people died from loneliness than from Corona. And I think with combination of virtual worlds with even artificial intelligence, where people that have no friends or something, and then they are suddenly stuck in a room, they can even talk with an avatar. Yeah? And because virtual reality tricks the brain that it's real, they will not feel lonely.
I completely agree. In terms of innovation and health, the sense of community is critical. And the more diverse the backgrounds are of the people in that community, though they may be like-minded, the more innovation we're going to see happen. Yeah. So I think we've wrapped up the 30 minutes.
I think so too. Thank you also, Dana. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you also for coming.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the rest of GITEX.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you to our esteemed panel. And now I would like to invite Ms. Shreya and Mr. Mayank from my team to felicitate the speakers.